Been telling you guys for a long time, Coach Kevin Stefanski never liked Shedeur, never wanted him. In fact, him and the general manager, the brother general manager, they were forced to get Shedeur by no other than owner Jimmy Haslam, who last minute did some weird trade accusation to get Kenny Pickett and also wanted to get Shedeur late in the 5th round. I wanted Shedeur to go undrafted after he dropped significantly that low. And people thought I was brazy. Bless one, you tripping, bro. Why do you want this man to be undrafted? Because you might as well be undrafted when you're a 5th rounder. My personal opinion, because now you can dictate which teams you're going through, and he would have a beautiful agent like Drew Rosenhaus or other great credible agents who would have definitely get a top.
Cleveland Browns fans, gather around. What started as a quiet off-season debate has exploded into full-blown drama. One that puts Kevin Stefanski, Jimmy Haslam, and rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders at the crossroads of power, expectation, and legacy. Stefanski exposed. Owner Jimmy Haslam forced Browns to draft Shedeur Sanders against coach's will isn't just a headline, it's a flashing red light on the franchise's future. We're about to peel back the layers of conflict, reveal the hidden agendas, and ask the question, is the Browns' quarterback room broken beyond repair? On April 27th, the NFL draft should have been a stepping stone, a new chapter. Instead, it became a battleground. Kevin Stefanski had his plan, his lists, and his people. He was set on a quarterback, maybe Kenny Pickett or another mid-round sleeper. But at pick 157, the phone rang. Jimmy Haslam intervened, dropping shockwaves across the draft room.
Anytime he had to speak on his quarterbacks, he basically, I don't know how to articulate without getting in trouble, but he glazed the hell out of Joe Flacco, glazed the hell out of Kenny Pickett, and he damn near shed a tear for Dylan Gabriel. But when it came up to Shedeur, he always dismisses certain things, bypass. I warned you Shedeur was not going to get much reps in the mandatory OTAs, and you guys got mad at me. But not Kevin Stefanski. Why would Shedeur get a lot of reps when Kevin told y'all in front of the world 1 week before OTAs that certain quarterbacks were going to have limited reps? Limited. And that certain quarterback was only one quarterback. It was Shedeur. Anytime.
In a move insiders call audacious, Haslam not only traded up to snag Pickett, but then bypassed Stefanski's preferences to select Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round. It wasn't just a pick, it was a statement of ownership supremacy, a power play with consequences that are still unfolding. Sources claim Stefanski was literally offline, phones off, meetings concluded, mind shut down when the pick went through. Then, in an instant, the roster shifted. Shedeur was in. Stefanski's board got redacted. Reactions in the war room ranged from stunned silence to outright panic. For a coach who built his reputation around control and discipline, this felt like a firing shot. It set off a chain reaction of awkward pressers, strategic ghosting in OTAs, and a locker room slowly realizing that their leader might not be in control. Flash to Stefanski's first post-draft interview. The question about Shedeur hung heavily in the air. Stefanski responded, not with praise, but with pause. He's a professional, coming along, will be in rotational reps, he said. Eyes on the flu, nothing more. Compare that to a gush for Pickett. We love his grasp, he's a student of the game. Or the reverence for veteran Joe Flacco. His poise is what we need. The subtext? Stefanski is hesitant, cold, measured. He didn't just mute praise for Shedeur. He practically gave him an ice bath. Inside the locker room, the ripples became whispers. A faction of rookies rallied behind Shedeur, pointing to his grit at Colorado, being sacked 52 times in a brutal offensive line, yet still producing. Some vets shook their heads, echoing Stefanski's line. He's the owner's project. The rift grew during OTA drills, Shedeur getting generic reps, Picketing reps for Pickett, and Flacco running the veteran package. A few wide receivers even commented privately on how different Shedeur's routes felt, hesitant, not in flow. Meanwhile, scouts moved to film sessions with Clemson's Cade Klubnik. The message was clear. Almost everyone on offense got some attention. Everyone except Shedeur. If you though. The Browns would shift focus after 2 QB picks. Think again. Reporting shows scouts are already prepping for the 2025 draft. Cade Klubnik, Clemson's rising star, is under surveillance just months into his college campaign. Scouting meetings, Zoom calls, film breakdowns, they're all in motion. That's not insurance. It's a mid-season ambush. It sends a message. The QB room isn't about Shedeur's potential. It's about the next guy up. And that kind of forward-looking stance cements the perception that Shedeur is merely a placeholder in Haslam's agenda. Here's where things get personal. Shedeur Sanders, elite arm talent, pocket presence, playoff caliber mentality, raised under Deion Sanders in high-pressure environments. He led Colorado from obscurity to national spotlight, winning Pac-12 offensive awards along the way. He carries swagger, confidence, and heart. On the other hand, Cade Klubnik, polished, textbook QB, plays in a system that produces stats and hype, often sheltered from chaos. He's the coachable, owned by the system type. There's no pack mentality, no national spotlight. He's quiet, calm, collectible. And in Stefanski's eyes, that might just be more valuable than Shedeur's fire. It's not just a curse, it's a blueprint for implosion. For over 2 decades, the Cleveland Browns have turned the quarterback position into an ever-spinning carousel of chaos. From former Heisman winners to draft day heroes, the pattern is alarmingly consistent. Hype, hope, heartbreak. Take Baker Mayfield, for instance. The former #1 overall pick was supposed to be Cleveland's savior. He brought fire, a record-breaking $230 million guaranteed deal. That's brought more courtroom headlines than touchdown highlights. His brief flashes of brilliance have been overshadowed by inconsistencies and injuries, leaving many to wonder if the Browns mortgaged their soul for a mirage. Now cue Shedeur Sanders, young, dynamic, and media magnetized. His selection should have sparked celebration. Instead, it's déjà vu, once again. The Browns find themselves caught in a tug-of-war between owner impulse and coaching philosophy. A promising young talent is being dropped into a pressure cooker of politics and dysfunction. The systems aren't aligned. The vision isn't shared. The result? Chaos. Again. Even fans have become jaded. They've seen this film before, just with different actors. Whether it's Colt McCoy, Brandon Whedon, Robert Griffin III, or Cody Kessler, the names change, but the tragedy stays the same. And with every new quarterback drafted, that invisible weight gets heavier. The pressure not to just perform, but to overcome Cleveland itself. For Shedeur, it's not just about winning games. It's about breaking a generational curse. And that's a tall task for any rookie, no matter how talented. Kevin Stefanski's coaching resume sparkles on the surface. 2 Coach of the Year awards in a 4-year span. But dig deeper, and cracks begin to show. In 2020, he engineered an 11-5 season and brought playoff football back to Cleveland. It felt like a turning point. A coach who could build structure, call plays creatively, and lead with calm in the storm. But that season was also powered by a strong defense, a run-heavy scheme, and a relatively healthy roster. Fast forward to 2023, and Stefanski wins the honor again. But this time, it feels more like a sympathy trophy than a stamp of greatness. Sure, the Browns navigated a quarterback nightmare, cycling through 4 starters and still managing a 10-7 finish. But it wasn't the kind of season that screams innovation or growth. It was survival. Stefanski patched holes. He juggled Deshaun Watson's drama, Dorian Thompson-Robinson's rookie hiccups, and eventually Joe Flacco's late career revival. Admirable? Absolutely. But award-worthy? That's up for debate. More troubling is the question that now hovers over his legacy. If Stefanski is such a quarterback whisperer, why hasn't he developed one? In 4 years, no signal caller has truly evolved under his system. Instead, we see regression, miscommunication, and an increasing reliance on veterans who already know the league. And that makes his resistance to Shedeur Sanders even more puzzling. Instead of embracing a talented rookie with high upside and a strong football IQ, Stefanski has responded with stone-faced indifference. Sources inside the building say he refers to Sanders as the owner's pick, a passive-aggressive jab that reveals a deeper rift. A true quarterback guru would relish the chance to mold raw talent. But Stefanski? He seems to view Shedeur not as a project, but a problem. If this coach truly wants to cement his place in NFL history, it won't come from award plaques. It'll come from proving he can develop a franchise quarterback. So far, the results don't support the hype. Imagine being Shedeur Sanders right now, the son of one of the greatest defensive backs in NFL history. A quarterback forged under the harsh spotlight of national media, forged in the fire of a collapsing offensive line at Colorado, yet still producing elite-level numbers. This should be his moment, the next great Sanders era. Instead, he finds himself buried on the Browns' depth chart, tossed into what appears to be a simmering civil war between ownership and coaching staff. From the moment Jimmy Haslam made the call at pick 157, Shedeur's fate was sealed, not as a player, but as a pawn, a symbol, a lightning rod in a battle for power. Haslam wanted headlines. He wanted the buzz that comes with a Sanders in brown and orange. Maybe he saw Shedeur as the next big thing.
Anytime he had to speak on his quarterback,
increasingly driven by media narratives.
Basically,
but Stefanski
saw something else. Without getting in trouble, but he glazed the hell out of Joe Flacco, glazed the hell out of Kenny Pickett, and he damn near shed a tear for Dylan Gabriel. But when it came up to Shedeur, he always dismisses certain things, bypass. I warned you, Shedeur was not going to get much reps in the mandatory OTAs, and you guys got mad at me. But not Kevin Stefanski. Why would Shedeur get a lot of reps when Kevin told y'all in front of the world 1 week before OTAs that certain quarterbacks were going to have limited reps?
Are already eyeing
limited, and that certain quarterback was only one quarterback. It was Shedeur.
Shedeur hasn't even thrown a competitive preseason pass yet. What kind of message does that send? How does a young QB build confidence in an environment where trust is fractured, opportunity is conditional, and progress is political? Shedeur is no stranger to adversity. He's handled louder critics, nastier headlines, and harsher playing conditions. But in Cleveland, he faces a new kind of obstacle: apathy. He's not being coached up, he's being sidelined. And unless he stuns in training camp or benefits from a surprise injury shakeup, his story might end before it even begins. Another wasted talent, another name on the Browns' infamous quarterback list. But here's the thing about pawns: they can become queens if they make it to the other side of the board. And if Shedeur finds a way to break through this icy stalemate, we might be witnessing the start of something legendary. If not in Cleveland, then somewhere else. Somewhere smarter. Somewhere hungrier. The season ahead is a crucible. Preseason reps will matter. Quietly, the offense is already evaluating signage. Will Shedeur hold the first-team reps? Will Pickett run the vet group? Will Klubnik shadow receive early praise? Stakes are higher than ever. If Shedeur ignites, even in mop-up duty, it could upend the narrative. If he fizzles, this will be another case study in Cleveland caution, coach unwillingness, and owner-driven theatrics. Either way, the clock is ticking. This isn't a QB controversy, it's a franchise identity crisis. Does Cleveland run on ownership power, headlines, and star power, or discipline, systems, and coach-led growth? Is Stefanski running the ship, or is Haslam? And is Shedeur Sanders a leader lost in the fray, or an heir who never had a fighting chance? In 2024, every snap will echo. Every press conference will carry undercurrents. And this power play, it could define Cleveland's next decade. So tell me this, are you hashtag Team Shedeur, believe in grit, pedigree, and fight? Hashtag Team Stefanski, believe in structure, system, and coach-first logic? Or are you hashtag Team Haslam, hyped for headlines, star power, and media moments? Drop your thoughts below. Smash that like if you're tired of Brown's QB cycles. Subscribe if you want insider updates, leaked scene reports, and no-fluff breakdowns. Ring that bell, because this saga, it's just heating up. And we'll be right here for every rep and every reave.